It is almost time for the busiest month of the bridal season, or couple months. Your s- summer and fall wedding dresses are starting to come in, right? You're starting to get the shipments, the updates, delivery dates. And so now you need to figure out alterations if you haven't already made arrangements with your bridal shop. So I figured now is probably a good time to start giving you guys some tips and tricks on A, what to expect in alterations, and B, how to navigate the process. Your alterations process obviously begins once your dress comes in and you show up to your first appointment. Most alterationists, you don't have to wait until your dress is delivered. By my knowledge, you can make appointments based off of your estimated delivery date, at least for us. Obviously you want to give yourself a little bit of time. In the current shipping climate, sometimes things just don't come in when you think they're going to. But generally speaking, like for us, you can get on the schedule for the last week of the month, of your delivery date. If you know your gown is expected to arrive, July 6th, we can put you on the schedule for the end of the last week of that month. And then if your dress does come in a little earlier, if it comes, before the end of the month, we can always look at available appointments to move you up so that you don't have to store your dress until the end of the month. As far as I've been told, or as far as I've seen, a lot of other alteration shops and tailor shops do the same thing, but for appointments. The second thing that you want to keep in mind: what kind of alterations are you looking for? This is the kind of thing that tends to trip up a lot of our brides, because the taking up your hem and taking in your side seams on a gown that is a made to measure size 10, and you are a made to measure size 10, that is a much different sewing process, and that is a much different fitting process than if your dress was accidentally ordered at a size 22 and you're actually a size 12, for example. um, that kind of an alteration oftentimes requires a knowledge of pattern making. It requires a knowledge of clothing construction, and it may require some higher level sewing techniques, in case we need to kind of, pull some couture tricks out the bag in order to get your gown that is a size 22 to still look the way it's supposed to at a size 12. So, the first thing, in my opinion, that a bride should do when it's time to start searching for a bridal alterationist is determine what level of alterations do you need. That is why some people are comfortable taking their gowns to, like, the specialty dry cleaner, because if all you need is a strap adjustment and a hem, I mean, that just doesn't take, on a classic, that just doesn't take a whole lot of higher skill. But obviously, if you're dealing with a full lace, crinoline, mesh bodice, corset, things of that nature, then you may want to deal with someone who is an expert in alterations. And you may also, for example, a lot of you guys are coming to us looking to redesign, what we call a redesign. You want to take your mother's wedding dress and you want to remake it into something new. That's no longer an alteration. We're remaking the garment. So you want to look for somebody who has a demonstrated background in customizing clothes and, in my opinion, in pattern making and fashion design. I think it is really difficult to be able to take a vintage gown and make it look like turn it into a new modern gown if you don't understand how patterns are made and you don't understand the fashion design process to be able to figure out what techniques and what foundations, new foundations to create to get where you want to go. Um, Obviously, the next step after that is going to be, so we cover the basics, which is like, hem and strap, and we cover some money doing redesigns. The last thing that I think you got to keep in mind, which is also the more important thing: who can fit. Who can fit? Because a person that learns to sew is not necessarily a person who learns to fit. So take a look at previous, posts. Take a look at their previous work. What does the fit look like? Not just the sewing. What does the fit look like? Do those brides look comfortable? Do those brides is it flattering? And is it does it look the way the dress is supposed to look? If I can make your dress fit fantastic and my sewing is excellent and it lasts for 20 years, but I had to completely cut your dress up and change the whole thing and turn it into a whole new dress in order to make that happen, that was not a great execution. So That's my opinion. Can't take it all with a grain of salt. That's just my opinion. 20 years in the business. These are the things that I think are important for getting ready for bridal alterations, and kind of understanding how to narrow down that overwhelming number of providers that you're going to find when you start looking for alterationists. So I hope that helps. I will give you more tips and tricks in the weeks to come. I might even just do some more today. We'll see.